Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far, and these have been quite the few weeks of Call of Duty action, certainly here in the CDL. One of the big storylines certainly that's come out of the last few days has been, given the fact that we are going back to LAN, what exactly would the implications have been if the entire last couple of seasons had been on LAN? Pretty heated discussion last night on the flank between SlasheR and some of the other pros regarding, well, the differences that LAN potentially would make and how things might have been different if we'd have been there all along. But enjoy taking your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you were new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. First of all, thought I mentioned this. It was kind of interesting that Scump said a couple of days ago, talking about who he considers to be the best SMG players of all time, has himself up there, Huke actually, and John right up there. John certainly, I think a lot of people would say Scump and John top 1, top 2. aBeZy also deserves a mention. He does say in reply right here, aBeZy was talking off the top of my head, forgot my boy, but it's kind of crazy that he says, you know, Simp and aBeZy will eventually be up there, which is very true. You do have to wonder how long it'll take if these guys continuing to dominate the league before they get their spot in a, well, you know, top 3, top 4, top 5 SMG players of all time. And Simp, you could argue, is certainly right on the cusp right now, given what he has been performing like the last couple of years. Thought there were some more funny memes that came out this remotely grail on the sub-Reddit trade offer. I get Huke, you get swept, says Nadeshot. And well, obviously that crazy series that we saw yesterday. And you do have to wonder a lot of the time, really, with some of these roster changes that we have seen, the craziness that we have seen so far this year in the CDL. Would this have happened if we were on LAN the whole time? And especially a guy like SlasheR, benched off Los Angeles Thieves, would say, well, you know, this situation would have been somewhat very different if, well, if we were in a LAN environment this entire time. But going back to LAN, especially given the fact that, okay, it's happening for the Stage 4 Major, but there's no crowd there, how much impact does that really have? Will the players that have been gassing up how good they're going to be when we go back to LAN actually be that good when we go back to LAN? Will the other guys, you know, will the newer pros actually fall off quite significantly? There's, of course, some differences between LAN and online play, as SlasheR is going to go through, but as, you know, well, Zoom and some of the other guys are kind of saying that, look, a lot of the time online and LAN is pretty equivalent over the long haul, and how much difference will that really make? So this I thought was pretty crazy, right, given the fact that Seattle actually, as of late, don't seem like they're that bad, but when you actually look at the statistics, it is pretty remarkable. I mean, this comes out from Tucker, who did this, says, quote, 3 CDL points, dishing some more ones out for FaZe. It's not like the series yesterday was a complete blowout by any means, but Seattle just can't seem to get any of these big series over the line, and this is an insane stat that UD in the replies here pointed me in the right direction of. He was talking about the amount of series that Seattle have won since everything kicked off right with the CDL, and I was thinking way back to the Black Ops 4 World Championship, how many series that they won at that event, and it turns out that, well, since then, these are the stats, which is just remarkable to me. So at the Black Ops 4 World Championship, the final pre-franchise era event, 100 Thieves made it all the way to the grand finals. They went 3-0 in their groups, they lost to LG in winners round 1, then they won 6 series in a row in the losers bracket before losing to E United in the grand finals. Since then, when franchise era kicks into play, we have Seattle Surge and Octane have since then won 9 series total, 29 losses. I believe they won 5 series last year, 4 of which were up against Los Angeles Guerrillas, and so far this season there's something like 4-11, 4-12, so it's pretty incredible to see. And yeah, you do have to look at these stats and think next season whether Octane is considering other options at different organizations, because I just thought this stat was pretty remarkable. In the last couple of years, he's won the same amount of series that he did at one event way back in the day. Don't want to bash on him too hard or anything, but I just thought it was an incredible statistic. And well, this is what Crone says right here. Also, some little bit of drama in the challenger scene, as there tends to be. We talked about yesterday the fact that Methods and Parasite are going to be teaming up down there as well. But Hamza Frosty seems to have found himself as the odd man out once again. Unfortunately, Hamza of Subliners Academy, now a free agent, as Dimocon will be joining their team. 3rd time in a row I get the short end of the stick, but I'm still the problem. All good, I will be back. Best of luck to them, says Hamza. And of course, we are confirmed now to be going back to LAN pretty soon in June 17th through to the 20th. That is going to be the Major 4 LAN event. Obviously, fantastic stuff hosted by the Dallas Ember. Of course, we'll have to see how they perform, because there's some players that have talked for a long time now about the fact that they're so much better in a LAN environment. Some of our pros, of course, haven't even got the opportunity really to play yet in a LAN environment. Some of them maybe, you know, played a lot of local LANs, or they've gone to some amateur LANs and such. I mean, I think Mac as well. I think Mac and you know, Awakening, for example, they went to one LAN, or at least one like kind of pro LAN-ish at the start of well, the Minnesota event. That wasn't even really a pro LAN. It was the Minnesota launch weekend. It was the challenger stuff over there. Maybe they've played some local LANs here and there, but well, not of course as much LAN experience as some of the, well, the veteran Call of Duty players have had. And you do have to wonder whether this scene would look completely different if nothing had changed at all and we'd have stayed on LAN for the entirety of the last couple of seasons. Now, do I think it's necessarily been a terrible thing? Is it necessarily, well, you know, maybe it's been an accelerator in terms of bringing new talent into the league, and most of the time, like probably 90% of the time, we see that players that are good online end up being good on LAN as well. But it's a fantastic storyline to keep your eyes on, certainly as we head back in that direction. There's been some hints as well from from Austin /LittleCoat talking about, okay, you know, what is this GIF? What does it mean? Is he going to another team? I think we actually asked him on the flank last night, like, is he going to Dallas Empire? And he said no comment. So who really knows? I can't imagine that Dallas Empire would work with SlasheR and Crim. But I don't know what's going on anymore. But it's kind of tough to say at the present time. But yeah, SlasheR may be hinting that something's going on right here. And he was on the flank last night. It was an entertaining affair. And if you guys tuned into the flank, it was a good time. And I was just like, I was in the call and Zuma made one comment, right? And he was talking about how, okay, SlasheR, he last year was obviously not great on OpTic in Los Angeles, playing out of LA. And then he moved all the way to Texas, right? And the rumor was that, okay, they're going to get way better playing in Texas, better online facilities. But of course, their team was still pretty terrible. So, okay, Zuma kind of made that point. And then I see SlasheR hop up into the call, or I see like aBeZy or whatever his name was, hop up into the TeamSpeak call. I'm like, all right, that's Austin LittleCoat. Here we go, lads. And well, it was quite the entertaining affair. I was kind of sitting back and enjoying from the front row seat. So I'll play a few clips for you guys on screen right now with its discussion between the LAN and online stuff. Gets kind of heated between the two of the fellas. And then Gunless pops in with a nice reply as well regarding World War II.
Okay, hold on. If you take it the wrong way, it's an odd comment. No. But at the end of the day, like everybody moved to Texas, Austin, to get the good internet. So there's no excuses. There's no excuses for that.
My whole bank account, if we were playing in person, I would never be in this situation. Never.
You're saying on main stage with fans, you think
no
you
shot, bro.
Why?
Listen, nobody also mentions this. Do you understand on LAN you cannot sound whore? People literally rely on sound cues online consistently. You can't do that with white.
Good point. That's a great
game is different. You can pre-aim.
I understand.
Better
I understand
that. Subs are better online. It's literally facts. This is a great example. Ian, how many times did we get choke slammed by OpTic and Black Ops 4? Online.
God wants me to
every
get
single
a whole
time.
bunch.
How many times did we beat them on LAN? Every single time. The results are different.
Bro, Austin, I'm not saying that there aren't times where there's differences between on LAN and online. I'm saying for the most part, the best teams online are the best teams on LAN. It's been the same thing for years, for legit years. Yes, there might be some differences in the game. Yes, there might be some players who get nervous, whatnot, but for the most part, and again, going back to what Ian was saying about how some players online get super nervous when they go to LAN. You can name a few players, maybe with maybe 5 fingers, maybe with one hand, you can get maybe 4 or 5 players. It's not even just about getting
nervous though. There's literally players who rely on sound cues all the time online. You literally watch them play. They don't have good awareness.
Bro, people they heard something. People are gonna sound whore on LAN too, bro. It's harder, but they do it.
No.
They still do it. They still do it. It doesn't matter. People blast their headset. You guys are telling me you don't sound whore on LAN? What?
No.
Wait a second. Hold on. It is completely different. Hold on, Tom. Right now, Tom, if you play at 100 game volume right now and download a couple apps, you hear everything. On LAN, you have earbuds in. You have white noise. You have a headset.
Yes, I know there's a difference.
Earbuds.
Yes, I know there's a difference. I'm not saying there's not. I'm saying it's still done on LAN. People still sound whore on LAN. It doesn't go away.
But to a way lower degree.
Wait, Cindy, if you couldn't sound whore on LAN, then why were you using inconspicuous armor to fulfill AR in World War II if you can't sound whore on LAN?
I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's a lot less
Exactly,
fucking
Big P.
I never said it's impossible. Of course you can hear the game.
Wait,
Tom, here's my take on it.
I didn't use dead silence and I never got sound horde, so I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I ran infantry hunker.
Okay.
Pierce, what were people saying about your team in IW when you guys were winning those 2Ks early?
I think everyone. I remember all of the comments from all the professional players when we were all amateurs at that time, calling us online jokes, pieces of lots of things actually. And we went to LAN. We absolutely torched them at Atlanta. Basically everybody, and took home the dub. I had our first event.
So just to explain the Gunless comment real quick, he says in methods the fact that say back in World War II, for example, if you're talking about that you can't actually hear sounds too much on LAN, and that's one of the key differences to online, then why were you using inconspicuous, which was one of these, I forget exactly what they called it, but one of these effectively it was a perk, right? One of these upgrade type things that had made you silent on the map. So it was a nice little bit of discussion, I think, between the two guys right there. And you've got to think, I mean, with some of these roster changes that we've seen so far this season have been incredible. well. I mean, SlasheR being benched initially was pretty remarkable stuff, of course. This Huke stuff is absolutely out of control, and we are going to be seeing some of these new teams in action in just a few, well, hours time, I guess, later today, and we're going to go into some of those matchups right now. So, one of the big ones I think today is Huke and Priestahh meeting tomorrow, well, meeting today, Los Angeles Thieves versus the New York Subliners. This was a series that I was incredibly excited for before the weekend even kicked off, and we're going to get it in action just later today. And now, given the fact that Huke is also on the Thieves, it just makes this series even crazier, to be honest. There's so many great storylines in this one. Huke versus Priestahh once again. Not only do we have like well, former world champion Huke against his former world championship team in Dallas, which maybe will match up at some point, I'm sure they will, but we also have him versus Priestahh, who also won the world championship last year. So crazy how that lineup is disintegrated. Would it have done the same if we'd have been on LAN the last 18 or so months? Maybe that wouldn't be the case, but maybe it certainly would be. Maybe it's about time we get some of these well, new blood players into the CDL, and will probably, I think, perform great on LAN given them time, and especially the fact that there's no crowd there. You've got to think that maybe it'll take them a little bit of time to adjust even back to the LAN environment. Maybe some of the pro players, I'm not exactly sure these guys are going to be rocking up to LAN and dropping 1.4s every single map that they play. It's well, of course, your teamwork and stuff like that actually has a pretty big impact still on LAN as it does online, even not more of an impact, right? You could say on LAN, teamwork is actually more important than online, where you kind of just run around in the, make individual plays in that sense. So a team like OpTic, they might even have a difficult time if they're talking about the fact that their teamwork has been a bit of a struggle. But as Priestahh says, firm handshakes all around, kind of, let's make it a good one, nothing below the belt, he says. And these are the rest of the matches for today. So first up, Toronto Ultra versus the Paris Legion. This series honestly is pretty interesting from a couple of perspectives. Paris need to win it. I think they still have a chance actually to get out into the winners bracket, maybe, if some crazy tiebreaker goes their way, but I kind of doubt it's going to happen. There'd have to be a crazy 2-3 tiebreak, which they probably lose to the majority of teams. But who really knows? Toronto Ultra right now are on an 8-series win streak. So even though this series doesn't matter too much for them, they still qualify in winners. I really saw the first seed regardless. They probably want to win this. They don't want to lose any momentum, right, going into the major. So I think Ultra will probably come out and win this 3-1. The second series is really a blockbuster one to me. Thieves versus New York. New York have been looking so good as of late, but Thieves, after looking, well, so good with the TJ move, is the Huke move going to improve them immediately? Have they been looking particularly good in practice? Apparently they have, but yeah, we'll have to see what develops right here. This is an absolute banger for so many different reasons. Getting to see Huke back in action is absolutely fantastic as well. And if Thieves can come out here with a victory, you're not necessarily expecting to. Subliners have been looking good. They've got more practice in the search and destroys, you would say, so far. But if Los Angeles Thieves come out with the victory, I think that is quite the statement, right, in their first series with this new team. Will they get a fantastic honeymoon period? And the final series, Mutineers versus Gorillas. This is a big one, especially when we look at the group standings right now over here in Group A, because Mutineers right now are 2-2. If they win this one, they'll be 3-2. On Sunday, we've got this Rokkr versus Empire match, which is going to be massive. So if Mutineers can win this one, then effectively it's a battle between Rokkr and Empire. Whoever wins that gets to get the third seed in Group A. But intrigued to hear your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm. Like you enjoyed this content, other people like you may enjoy this content as well, and I've grown the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always. Take care, and I will see you next time.